everyone, and welcome to this episode of Peace Talks, where we catch up with the bands that are coming along to play for us at the Mars Bar in Worcester. Today I'm joined by Scott Hammond. Hi, Scott.
Hi, Dave. How you doing?
Grand, thanks. Scott will be bringing his band JINGU BANG along tomorrow. In fact, so it's Wednesday today.
Well done for pronouncing that correctly.
Indeed. Do people get that wrong, do they?
Oh, often, almost always, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so in fact Scott has just arrived back yesterday, I believe it was, Scott. Yeah,
That's right, yeah. Still a little bit tired.
Yeah, do you want to, from California, I believe it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, we just had like a week's tour, or just over a week, so a very short tour with Jethro Tull. Yeah, I think we played like 5 shows or something. I've lost count now. So yeah, there's obviously a bit of a time delay, 8 hours I think it was. So I'm readjusting back to UK time slowly but surely. Hopefully in time for the gig at the Mars Bar.
Yes, yeah. Well, like I said, we'll make sure we got plenty of coffee and caffeine for you.
Yeah, thank you.
So you're obviously we can see the drum kit behind you. That's fantastic. You're obviously the drummer.
Yeah.
How did you actually start? Sort of, how did your musical journey start? Because I believe you started on piano, right?
Excuse me. Yeah, I started on piano. So when I was about 6, my mum used to take me to this old lady's house for a cup of tea, and I was bored senseless. She probably wasn't that old, actually. It was just how she seemed at the time. And she had a piano there, so when they were chatting away, I would just literally one note at a time try and pick out a tune. And they both were like, "Oh, wow." I mean, it was nothing. It was literally 3 Blind Mice or something. But every time I went there, I did that because it alleviated the boredom.
Yeah.
And from their encouragement, I thought, oh, maybe I should do a bit more of it. And so I started doing the grades and all that stuff. And then drums didn't kick in till I was 14, so a fair bit later. And I also dabbled with the guitar a little bit.
Right.
And I was having lessons on all 3 at one point, but yeah, I was at school, saw this kid playing drums on his own. I don't think it was anything much, just basic groove and a couple of fills around the kit, and I was like, wow. And so that was it. I was hooked, and drums took over. I still play piano a little bit, not performing at all, just to write tunes. So composing. I also teach drums 1-to-1, so I play piano when I'm doing that, so it helps keep my piano chop going. So yeah, so it's drums ever since then, really. So yeah, I went to music college up in Leeds. Right. There's a jazz course up there. It's still going, I believe. And it was really, really good. Really enjoyed it. And that's where I met some of the band that we're coming to the Mars Bar with.
Excellent, right?
Most importantly, my wife. I met her up there. So that's Ruth Hammond. She plays a lot of different instruments actually in the band, but probably the main one is tenor sax. But she also plays melodica, bass clarinet. What else? Like a synth, little Korg synth. And sometimes flutes when I can persuade her to.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, she's probably got the hardest job. Lots going on, lots of instrument changing.
Yeah.
And not much time to do it sometimes. So yeah, I met her up there, and then our bass player, Greg, who's Scottish, he was on the course as well, and he would regularly blow everyone away with his funky bass line. So it was pure luck that he moved down to near Bristol. So as soon as he did, I snapped him up and got him on this project.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Ah,
So
fantastic.
there are. I might as well keep going because there's two other
Yeah.
members in the band. So we have Lisa Cherian on percussion. Yeah, she's from Sydney originally, and she's great. She plays congas and all the other bits and bobs, little percussion toys, and
So she has like a big sort of string of keys.
Yeah,
Is that her?
yeah,
Yeah, I
she
saw
does.
over a gig in Bath. Yeah.
But there's another one that's even more strange. I think I've got this right. I think it's like llama's toenails or something, and they
Well,
literally
there you
just
go.
hang.
There you go.
I hope I've got that right. We can ask you when you're at the gig.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, she's great, really funky. She's playing in loads of different bands. She does a lot of Latin music as well,
Right, yeah.
as many percussionists do. And then lastly, we've got Dale Hambridge, who plays keyboards, sort of clav sounds, Fender Rhodes, and all that type of stuff. So, yeah, he's kept very busy on the gig.
Yeah.
And that's the full team. Yeah.
Brilliant. No, really looking forward to seeing them again. I saw them. Was it last year? I think. Was it back end of last year or was it earlier
Yeah, it
this year?
feels like
Playing
about a year
yeah,
ago. Yeah.
I know because I think we booked you up. It was January, wasn't it? So the years.
Yeah.
It seems so long ago. Then I suppose it was. But
Yeah.
lots happened.
Well, when we started it, it was literally just before the pandemic.
Right.
And I think we did one gig or maybe two at the most. And then everything shut down, as you know. So it was probably 2 years before it, got going again after the pandemic. And it's been ticking along, but the problem is we were all busy doing other projects, and with partly my problem, my fault, with Jethro Tull, because we go away a lot with that. It's hard to get everyone together, but we managed to do it. So there'll be periods of inactivity, and then suddenly a week or two where a lot happens, and then nothing for a while. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a long-term project, and it's, whenever we get the opportunity, we'll be gigging with it, basically.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's those little gaps in your tours keep you busy, I suppose, as well.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it would be nice to come back and just relax, especially when you're only back for a few days, and but you've got to go and rehearse and practice and gig and everything. But no, I'm always glad that I'm doing it when I do it, because it's so different from Jethro Tull.
Yeah.
There's a lot more freedom. I mean, I love both. I like playing rock music. I like playing jazz. I like playing funk. This band is more on the funk side for sure. Definitely some strong jazz influences, no doubt. We play a lot of Herbie Hancock music.
Yeah.
But more of his funky side from the 70s.
Yeah. Headhunters, Hang Up Your Hang Up,
yeah,
and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. I think there's like 5 albums that I always think of anyway. Headhunters is obviously the most famous one. But also there's one called Secrets. What's the other ones? Manchild. Mr. Hands. There's a few of them.
Yeah, Mr. Hands. Yeah.
But yeah, that funky phase when he was mainly on Fender Rhodes. Yeah, I just absolutely love that stuff. And it's always got a lot of percussion going on as well.
Yeah.
And it's not, I mean, I love straight ahead funk, something like James Brown or whatever. I love all that. But this is like that, but with a bit more harmony thrown in, and different arrangements. And it's not just one groove all, for the whole song. It moves around a bit. But still with the funkiness, that's the thing.
Yeah, you got interesting sort of spectrum you're playing.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to know what to call it. I mean, I think of it as funk, but some people might call it jazz funk or fusion or
Yeah. I think you get quite narrow channels, don't you? Sort of, you get Facebook groups that are set up. So we're a
yeah,
prog rock group, and we're a jazz fusion
yeah,
group, and we're
yeah,
a jazz funk group. And you can't come here because that's people sort
yeah,
of talking, and that's what I love about it with Music Spoken Here. I'm sort of trying to bring a lot of those sort of crossover genres together,
yeah,
because it's all kind of influenced by jazz or by funk along the
yeah,
way, and we've had some that sort of brought hip hop to it and stuff like that, and it's
yeah.
just throw it all into the pot and see what happens, So
Do you know a drummer called Steve Jordan?
uh, don't ring a bell, no.
He's played with some really big names. He's an American drummer. He's played with John Mayer,
Right.
and a whole host of others. Um, and I saw an interview with him once, and he said, "Yeah, people split up music into all these different categories." He said, "I don't think about music like that at all." He's
Yeah.
very clear about it. His take on it was all those different categories are created by record companies to make it easier to sell music, basically. And I suppose I'm not quite as strong about it as he is, but I think it's a really good point, especially when you're trying to write a piece of music. You don't want to
Mm.
be boxed in. So it's good to just think of it as music, I think.
Yeah.
And it can be useful if I say, oh, this one's a bit more Latiny, then people know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's useful for that.
I,
But
I think because again, what I've been trying to do is to entice people in that wouldn't normally have listened to this kind of music.
yeah, exactly. And you
And
need words to be able to do
have to,
that.
you've got to give it some kind of point of reference.
Yeah,
But I tend to quite deliberately a lot of the time avoid the word jazz because it has so many sort of connotations. People have a
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
preconceived idea about what it is, and they come along
yes,
and go, "Oh, I never knew I liked jazz."
yeah, sure.
So
Um,
that's
or it might put them off coming at all, So yeah, it's like any style. There's so many different types that I would have thought that for many people there's a good chunk of jazz they probably would like, but they just haven't heard it,
mm,
or because you can obviously get the avant-garde stuff, which is going to put a lot of people off.
yeah.
But um, yeah, I suppose I like a lot of different styles, but certain parts of each style.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a whole load of jazz I hate, but there's a whole load that I absolutely love as well.
yeah, cool.
But yeah,
So
this
I
is
was
a
going to
funk
explore
thing.
that a little bit because you were voted last year, I think it was, in the Music Radar, or at least by the Music Radar readers as fifth best rock drummer in 2022.
Well, it's very
Um,
flattering to be on that. Yeah,
yeah, some big names in there, and also looking at you've worked with some pretty big names in the jazz world as well, and as you said, you kind of went into Leeds to do the jazz degree.
yeah.
Was jazz something that you kind of with the piano and such at your grandma's house and such? Was that music that you were kind of introduced to earlier? What kind of sort of took you down the jazz route?
That's a really good question. It wasn't when I was at the old lady's house. That came later. Um, I think what happened, I got into Steve Gadd
Okay, yeah.
because everyone was talking about Steve Gadd, and I thought, who is this guy? If he's supposed to be the best, I need to find out about him. So I went on a bit of a mission, and then obviously he plays a lot of jazz as well as
Mm.
loads of other styles. And so I think that was the way I started to discover it. And people like Chick Corea, who he was playing with a lot, and yeah, then I realized, okay, I definitely like this, so I want to do more with that, and that's when that helped me choose the music college, I guess.
Hmm.
I almost went to a course in Salford in Manchester, which was just more of a straight ahead pop thing.
Yep.
But no, I'm glad it worked out the way it did. Yeah, but I love the variety. To go and do a Jethro Tull gig and get my rock socks on, and
Hmm.
then come back and do a jazz gig on brushes, and then a funk gig with Jingu Bang the next night. That's heaven for me to be able to change through those different styles.
Excellent.
Variety is the spice of life.
Of course, yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Steve Gadd there. Are there any other notable drummers? It's quite strange actually, because quite accidentally, we seem to have featured quite a number of drummers. I've done this will be the 14th show that I've done. We started back in May last year, and we've because we've had two young drummer of the year. We had Nathan Shingler, who was young drummer of the year 2019, and Tom Potter 2016. In June we had Zoe Pascal, who was a 3-time finalist. He never actually won that, but he was a 3-time finalist. Right. And then we've had Tristan Banks's band and Robert Castelli's band, drummer-led bands. We got another drummer-led band here. So and I think after this we've got Corey Dick as well.
Is this all just coincidence?
Well. It's all coming. Yeah, it's kind of coincidence, but I guess it's I don't know, because I used to play bass sort of 30 years ago, and I kind of got into that. So I don't know whether it's just sort of subconsciously it's leaning towards the rhythm sections, or it's just sort of the way that things have turned out. Yeah. We have sort of featured a lot of drummers, and the people that I'm interviewing tend to be drummers in the bands as well. So that's great. So I mean, are there any others? So you mentioned, like I say, you mentioned Steve Gadd. Any others sort of really?
Absolutely. Rock-wise, I love Ian Pace, especially the sort of 70s period. Deep Purple with Dave Coverdale and Glenn Hughes and that sort of time. I love that. They had a slightly funky edge to it. And the organ, I love Hammond organs, John Lord, brilliant. I like Stuart Copeland, love his playing on the Police. And then Steve Gadd is a major one. Jazz-wise, I love Peter Erskine, Brian Blade, and Bill Stewart are probably my 3 biggest. Funk-wise, obviously Mike Clark, who played drums on all those Herbie Hancock funk things, or nearly all of them, because Harvey Mason played on Headhunters. Both those guys, absolutely incredible. Yeah, love their playing. So, I mean, I could go on, but that covers a good chunk of them.
That's grand. That's grand. So, I mean, we're really looking forward to getting you on the stage. And
thank you. Yeah, we're looking forward to it too. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, we're going to have a great time, and it's looking like a great turnout as well. Like I said, it's been a slow process sort of building this up, and it's been up and down. But we've got a lot of interest on this event. So
great.
Looking forward to a full house and lots of fun tomorrow night.
Yeah, well, I will see you there.
Indeed, grand. Thanks very much.
Okay, cheers, Dave.